Recording now. Cool. All right. Hi guys. Thanks for coming. I see that there's quite a number of people that joined. Hello guys. So for those who don't know, I am Chua. As I think you guys see from the chat, I'm also called Chu Chu Chua by my EST. Please do not call me Chu Chu Chua by my EST. Please do not call me Chu Chu Chua. Please not. So kind of quick get to know you. So in terms of the way I work pretty solid. So pretty solid productivity until the evening, and then when I just stop everything and have fun, play games and stuff like that. I like to think I'm a decent cook because I like to binge watch Gordon Ramsay. I like to believe, may not be true. And as far as I'm told, I'm guaranteed to scare your MB. So yeah, my MB is pretty scared of me, and I think my ESC is also trying to make the whole nation's MB scared of me at the same time. Thank you, Michelle. So that is me in a nutshell. So in this episode, as we said in the in the post, is how to drive the right conversations to kind of promote member effectiveness within our LC and within our team, right? So before moving on, shout out again to all of you guys that are here. Thank you all for coming, for support and stuff like that. Especially those that have been attending since episode 1. Thank you as well for the constant support. I hope that this episode will also be beneficial for all of you. So if you have a device, electronic device by the internet, please log up to this because my session is going to be really interactive. So that's the website for Pro Everywhere. I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes to kind of log on. Just give me a wave in chat when you're up so that I know. Maybe grab another phone, Flora. It's fine. It's fine if you can't connect to it. It's fine. It's just that if you're connected to it, there are really interactive sessions where you guys can. I'll be asking a lot of questions to you guys, and you guys can provide input of how it looks like in your LC. But it's fine if you can't connect. Is everybody up? I hope everybody's up. Wave. All right, I think that's everybody. Yeah, that's basically everybody. All right, moving on. So first question is, what do you look forward to gain from this webinar? Type your answers in. Please type it succinct. I don't want to read a passage, please. God damn it. Whoever said surprise me, you have well played. All right, ways to improve member productivity. And anything else? Oh, I know who's the last one. I hate you. All right, cool. All right, moving on. Knowledge. Nice. Oh, there's more coming in. All right, so kind of quick recap. So in terms of what people are looking forward to gain from this webinar, one, surprise me. I hope I can manage to surprise you. Number 2 is way forward to how to improve member productivity. Another one, call me out. Thank you. The last one is to kind of try to gain some knowledge. All right, so next. Okay, cool. So you guys clearly have your goals in terms of what you want to gain out of this webinar. And now it's kind of for me to show where I fit in this picture and how I did say that the topic is about driving conversations with members and how I'm going to make it happen and how this webinar is going to guide that. It's really simple. Three major objectives of this webinar. Number one, first we need to kind of understand how can we ensure ensure or maintain or promote even member effectiveness and where it comes from, where it stems from fundamentally. Number two is understand how we as a team leader of a team leader of a member can do in order to increase member effectiveness. And number three, how do we, because in the end of the day, all this will be talking about is how to drive the right conversations. And finally, we'll close out with that, with practical way forwards of what can be done within your team and within your LC. So that's basically this webinar in a nutshell. So before I go into the juicy stuff, next poll. So, yep, next poll is, the question is, what do you believe to be the key of promoting member effectiveness? Oops. Okay, the first answer came in. So helping members to connect to Isaac, values-wise and also operation-wise. Balancing fun and work. Yeah, that's a good thing. Aligning their personal goals with their roles in Isaac. That's good. Is the last guy gonna answer or not? Okay, I think that is all. So these are what people think is the key of promoting member effectiveness. So basically, at the end of the day, I think a common theme among all of this is, like, the first two is more about connection, right? Members' connection towards Isaac, towards the thing they do, towards a multitude of facets of what does Isaac mean to them in terms of result, in terms of values, in terms of achievement, in terms of development, yada. But something also not to forget is to have a really good balance of work-life relationship in that sense. And something I like to draw your attention to is, when it comes to member effectiveness, we are talking about action, right? Our members contributing the best they can for the organization, our members getting the right experiences from the organization, our member taking the initiatives that would definitely help them grow. Those are the actions they can perform. And what influences action is their thoughts. Do they believe that these kind of things are valuable for them? Do they believe that they can grow through these experiences? And fundamentally, what influences thoughts is motivation. Does your member, like, I will talk about more what is motivation, but in a sense, it is, does your member desire something, that thing so much they're willing to seek out something to improve themselves in that sense? So, as I said, motivation will be the first thing I want to address, because at the end of the day, as I said, motivation influences everything from the way we think to the way we act to the experiences that we receive as a direct consequence of our actions, and so on and so forth. So before talking about how do we motivate people, I think it would be wise to take a step back and think about how we motivate ourselves. Because if we are not motivated ourselves, what gives us the right to motivate other people, right? So something I want you guys to it's not a question, but something for you guys to start thinking about is, what is your motivation to do what you do, to still strive for everything you do within Isaac, not just Isaac, but also within your life, within your career, like studies, your career, anything that you're doing right now. And while you guys are thinking about that, I want to share a bit about my motivation, about how I found it. So for those who don't know, I'm from Isaac in Melbourne, And I'm part of EB Warm Cookies. I love the name. It's really wholesome. We are not wholesome at all. Just spoilers. But I can say before applying for VP, I was really close of not applying to be a VP because I joined ISAC in 2017, and by the end of that, I was TL throughout the whole year. It was a great experience, but at the end of the day, when I look back on my experience back then, I felt that it definitely helped me grow a lot. Like as a TL, I get to directly impact members. I get to directly motivate people, strive to think about ways to engage my people, to build the right environment for them to work in, to strive for excellence. I really enjoy the part of empowering other people. But something that I do not have, I realized, was I don't have a connection to the organization. I'm like, yeah, cool. This is a space for me to develop myself. And that's basically it. I don't really connect to Isaac's vision. I don't really connect to what Isaac's trying to do. And that's why I don't want to apply for EB. But after some convincing from a lot of people, namely enough, like especially some people from Isaac Melbourne, especially my EB, some of them, as well as some other current EB from the nation, from the region, specifically Eileen. Eileen did try to convince me, and Erica, for those who know her. I tried to apply that. Nothing to lose. Might as well, just try it out. And I can definitely say, those of EB that are here, like the questions that we have to answer to become an EB is tough. For the TLs that are here, if you're interested, like reach out to your VPs, ask them if they still have a copy to look through the answers, because becoming an EB is not just about functional skills. It's about your connection to the organization. Do you believe what we do, and do you have the motivation to carry forward whatever you want to achieve, regardless how difficult it is? Because I can assure you, EB is difficult. And it's definitely through the process that I really understood. I've really am forced to reflect on my experience and think about why do I want to forum for this, or why do I want to become a VPTM? And I can definitely tell you my motivation of doing what I still do today, even speaking to you guys here, is because for me personally, Isaac is like a sandbox for those who play games. Sandbox, essentially a space where anything can happen as long as you want it to happen. It's a space where people can strive for growth whatever way they want, because there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there for you to learn in different ways, to grow in different ways, in multitude facets. And I definitely benefited from Isaac because of that unique way Isaac is. And I want to maintain that way for generations to come, for my successors, and also want to be in a position to improve those spaces for people that come after. So that's why I run for EB, for TM. And also that's why I'm still here today and haven't resigned, because I'll say if you don't have a strong conviction, you would have resigned a long time ago, because it's tough. It's really, really tough. And that being said, now it's you guys. I'd like to kind of know what is your motivation in doing Isaac work. Right, someone responded. Alyssa, I think you just joined. Yep. So if you could log on to the website up here, so pollev.com, Zhonghan Chua 107, to join the poll, because it's gonna be a really interactive session. So hop on up if you have a device. So the first answer came in. So their motivation is for self-improvement, making an impact on others, contributing to a bigger purpose, and to learn. Anything else? Please do not write a passage. Let's keep it succinct, guys. Right. Someone said that their motivation is to kind of, in a sense, explore themselves. So to find their potential in areas that they have never thought existed before. we're gonna give this another minute before moving on. All right. So someone said being able to empower others to be the best that they can be, seeing members improve and coming out better than they were when they entered Isaac. That's nice. And being able to move society further than mediocrity and constantly learn for myself to be better for others. Shit, that sounds like Jose. Goddamn, is Jose in? No, it sounds like Jose. All right. I think everybody responded. So cool. It's really nice to really see everybody's motivation. It's clear that we are here for a common purpose, but we do have our different motivations of why we keep striving for what we do. And as we all say, Isaac work is not easy. Next slide. All right. So when it comes to motivation, to kind of put context of what motivation is, I like this quote a lot. So desire is the key of motivation, but it's the determination and commitment to an unrelenting pursuit of your goals, a commitment to excellence that will enable you to attain the success you seek. So it's a long quote. It's a really nice quote. I love it. But something that I like to draw your attention to is reading in between the lines. Specifically the words that I highlighted kind of gives context to what I want to draw your attention to, is that something that they're saying here in between the lines is motivation can only be given by yourself. Because look at it this way, desire, nobody can give you desire unless you want something yourself, correct? Nobody can give you determination or commitment to do something unless you want it really, really bad for yourself. So what it's kind of saying, it's motivation can't be given. Like people can't give you motivation. Even if some people do say that, oh, I'm motivated by other people's success. But fundamentally, you are motivated because you chose to be motivated, because you want to see yourself better than others, because you have that inner drive. You let yourself be driven by others. So something I like you guys to keep in mind, regardless where you go from this point onward, is that it's a really simple fact that nobody can motivate you, but only you can motivate yourself. And it extends to everybody. But then why the hell are we having this webinar, right? If only people can motivate themselves, why are we talking about trying to motivate others if it's kind of pointless? Might as well just pack up, roll out of there like BB-8 right here. So, but then something that we need to realize is, yes, motivation is given by yourself, but as leaders of an organization, leaders of a team, leaders of a group of people, it is us that is responsible to create an environment that allows everybody to find their individual motivation. I think thinking back to the survey above, one of the questions above about what do you think is the key to members performing effectively, someone did mention about their individual connection to Isaac, to the work, to the contribution, yada, yada, yada. This is where it ties in there. Because you can't just force someone to connect to Isaac, right? I believe everybody here has a personal connection to Isaac, as do I. And it's not just that my connection may not necessarily apply to other people. People don't see Isaac as I do, but also that means you can't really force your connection down on people. The most that you can do is to create an environment or engage in the right conversations to help people discover that, hey, maybe Isaac's for me because of this. Isaac's for me because actually I gained this out of these kind of values out of Isaac, and I see the value in it right now. Because I think something that people can kind of resonate is when it comes to Isaac work, we tend to be on the grind constantly. And as how my LCP used to say, we tend to just zone out and autopilot all the time. We don't reflect on our own experiences. We don't see the growth that we get until we slow down, until one day we are forced to stop and say, hey, looking back, I actually developed something, this and that. And that same to goes to the members. I think it especially applies to the members. Because as EB or as MB, we know when sometimes there will be spaces for us to slow down and think and reflect upon our monthly experiences, right? There will be spaces for them. But members don't necessarily have that privilege. And it's up to us to provide them that space, to have the right conversations with them, to help them find the connection of what they're doing currently and what do they want to gain out of it, and try to align those two things together. So before moving on, that being said, I'd like to kind of get a real quick sensing. So how many of you here that is here currently can confidently say that you understand your members, understand why your members join Isaac, and what they want to gain out of your experience? Like 100%, yes, they are here because of this. I can confidently say that. It's okay if you don't really know, because that's the point why we are here. If you don't really know, we want to kind of know how to drive the right conversations to find out these kind of things. Oh, there's more people. Wait, is that? Oh, Neil's here. Hey, Neil. Neil, so the link up here, poev.com, this thing, if you can log on to it and kind of participate in the polls, because it's going to be really interactive. All right, so yeah, I think I can move on. All right, so it's a 50-50 split in terms of people who can confidently say that, yes, they understand why their members join Isaac and what they want to gain, and 50% of saying that, oh, they're not really sure about, why people are here and why do they join and stuff like that. It's fine. We're here to kind of understand how can we find out more in that sense. All right, so so just now we have talked about what is the basis of member motivation, right? About what drives people, about how to help people drive, like how to drive people and stuff like that. Hey, Diana, I see you there. And now I wanted to kind of segue in the conversation of, okay, so now we know that to drive people, we need to facilitate an environment where they can find their personal connection and build their motivation from there, correct? Now we want to ask the question about what is motivation. And I'm not sure if people noticed that there's a small link at the bottom that is a really quick snapshot of what kind of, there's a lot of theories about motivation because nobody really understands what it is. They are just ideas, theories about what it may be. If you're interested to know more, feel free to click on the link. But the theory I'll be using today is something called intrinsic and extrinsic factors of motivation in that sense. So what this theory says is, when it comes to motivation, what drives people, there are intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors. So I'm going to go through extrinsic because it's more easy to understand. So extrinsic factors are factors that is imposed by your environment, by externally. So simply rewards, punishment, promotion. When there's something that an external force tells you, okay, if you do this for me, I will give you $100. That's an extrinsic motivation, correct? And if you kind of put in Isaac's context, what we do as an intrinsic motivator is like R&R, is like march momentum. That is something big, a big campaign that there's rewards on the line. It's like, you know what? If you do well, we'll give you rewards and stuff like that. R&R is a more smaller version within the LC. So those are the things that we do within Isaac. When it comes to extrinsic factors, they tend to have immediate effect. Like as MU, I can definitely say one of my members, the moment March Momentum came out, he just started hustling and he got a free exchange out of it. It was super good. Like he was like, oh, I want to get a free exchange, and actually work his ass off for it, and he got it. Super proud of him. But it tends to be not sustainable. And case in point, that member as well, the moment April came, his productivity just crashed. And since then, me and the IGT people was like, how do we get him back on his feet? How do we get him start working again? Stuff like that. So that that is a really good example of extrinsic motivations. And intrinsic motivations is more, as suggested, is something self-generated. So in the sense, like as saying here, it can be responsibility, it can be ability to develop skills, to have challenging ones, stuff like that. But something to sum it up is when the person sees value within the work for themselves or for what they want to achieve. And it's something that only they can realize themselves, because you can't impose a value now, right? And this is basically something that every TM or even HR personnel dreams to have, because if you have a workforce that intrinsically believes in what they do, that I know they come into work like, yeah, I'm doing this because I am challenged to do my best, because I love working here, because I love to be able to develop my skills and learn more things and stuff like that, and they'll just work really, really hard to have those opportunities and stuff like that. Those are the best kind of workforce. And it sounds easy, but it's not easy to develop because as we discussed before, like motivation kind of plays into this, and you can't put motivation into people. They need to discover by themselves. And it is the facilitation of help them discovering their own intrinsic motivations is the hardest. But if it's achieved, as noted down below, it will have a deeper and long-term effect because it will just keep them going because there's something bigger at stake than just a free exchange and stuff like that. Because they sincerely believe that doing Isaac can enable them to get a better working position in the future. Then that's why they work so hard, because they see the value for it, and that's something that we kind of want to strive for. So as I said, and the discussion about, and as proposed on before, because we're talking about motivation, which is an intrinsic, and we are trying to look into more intrinsic motivation because, as I said, it's more long-term, it's more sustainable. Then the question becomes, how do we facilitate the development? Because as leaders, we have to do that. And the answer is to connect, as you guys proposed before, to connect what they do in Isaac to their personal goals, dreams, and aspirations in life. I know that sentence is obnoxious because it sounds simple. For those who try to do it, they know it's not as simple as what's written down, and it's actually very, very hard to achieve. If it's easy, I wouldn't be talking about this. We'd be talking about something else, honestly. So to kind of look into how can we do that, I'd like you guys to, I have a couple of people to introduce to you. I'd like you to kind of think about, have you met these kind of people within your team before? And if you have, kind of write down in the chat of this webinar, and so that we know in everybody's team who have you in everybody's team what kind of people is composed of. All right. So in Isaac, when it comes to recruitment, we do meet a couple of people that join the organization for various reasons, and this is kind of a breakdown of it. So there is the altruist, where they have seen Isaac, they look through Isaac's webpage, they see our vision, they're like, oh shit, PNF. I fucking love the idea. I'm going to join this organization. I'm going to make a big impact. There are people like this. So that's the altruist. Another type of people are the professionals, where they're like, this looks like a legit organization, global and everything. I'm going to come in, going to develop some professional skills for my career. They are really career-minded, and they're like, okay, I want to come in and, communication skills. I learn how to network, learn how to pitch to CEOs and stuff like that. They don't necessarily go to IGT, but there are people like this who join Isaac for this particular reason. And finally, there are the soul searchers, where it's like, I'm kind of bored, and I just happen to see, this promotion about Isaac online. Why not? And I join. So yeah, that's why I'm here. So that's the soul searchers. So kind of I'm gonna look at the chat now to see. So can anybody kind of write down in the chat in terms of in terms of the people that I just described, the three kind of people that I just described, is there any resemblance of them in your team? Oops. If anybody wants me to scroll back, I can. Just let me know. Last one is this soul searcher. Okay, cool. I think I'll quickly scroll through again just to describe it. So altruist is people join the organization because they sincerely believe on our vision and want to be part of it, right? The professionals are people coming in for really, really specific professional or personal development. And soul searchers is more like, well, I kind of don't know what I'm doing, but I kind of keen on trying out different things. So kind of a person that's kind of trying to explore what they're trying, that they still want to do in that sense. So Michelle said that seen them all. Jenny said that seen them all. Oh, feels bad. Well, to be fair, they are the typical people that kind of bump into Isaac from time to time. Anybody else want to put input? Okay, if nobody's gonna respond, I'm gonna still move on. All right, so soul searcher, nice. All right, so something to keep in mind is those three. I'm not saying that people are either altruist or professionals or soul searchers, right? They are a combination of people, and people tend, because people have a multitude of motivations. And I believe all your members are some levels of each. It's just that which one is more than the other and stuff like that. But the important question for us is, how do we engage these kind of people? How do we draw, as we said, draw the connection between what they want, their personal desires, to what they do within Isaac? So first things first, the altruist. So a couple of things that you can do is more of a step-by-step process. So firstly, clearly, you need to understand where is their source of altruism. You know, why are they so passionate about PNF? What do they believe about PNF? What do they think PNF can do for the world from their perspective in that sense? And number two is what you can do, especially for these kind of people, is to show them, is to kind of instill the mindset in them that they can only help other people if they are improving themselves, right? I think, I'm not sure if you guys have heard it often, but that's a saying that I kind of stuck by myself personally, where I push myself for personal development because I want to empower other people. And I can't empower other people if I'm not myself good enough. And that's why I keep striving for excellence, striving for growth, striving for improvement. And this is the same mindset that you need to kind of instill in these altruists, where you give the mindset that, yes, you want to help people, you have a really good heart. And through Isaac, you can improve yourself so that you can help more, you can be in a position to empower more people, to help the world through a better way, or to help the world more effectively in that sense. And last and finally is you can have regular touch points to talk with them, see how they're finding the experience, and see if the connection between what their source of altruism and what they're currently doing in Isaac still aligns. Do they still see the value in Isaac for them and for their long-term passion for helping the world in that sense? Something about this that I can note from my experience of dealing with some altruists here and there is there are people who prefers more direct or indirect impact. As you guys know, Isaac is more indirect impact. So that may be some concern. I do have some people who left Isaac because, you know, they prefer more direct impact kind of way. Yeah, fair enough. There's nothing much we can do. But I do believe that there is the way where we engage them could have turned it around in that sense. So that's the altruist. So the professionals. These guys should be straightforward enough, but for people who deal with them before, they know it's not easy dealing with them. They can be quite picky at times. So first things first, as I said, they come in for really specific reasons. They come in with a career in mind. They want to improve in their careers, some aspect of their career. So first things first, understand where they're going. What aspect of the careers are they heading towards? What's the direction they're going for? And try to draw the lines between, okay, you want to be, let's say they want to be the regional CEO of BMW within Asia Pacific, all right? So you can kind of talk about, well, okay, you want to be that person, cool. What kind of skills do you need then? Like, you don't have to give them the skills. You ask them, what do you think that they still lack? What if you were to be in a position that you graduate school and you are striving towards, what do you see lacking in yourself to be in that position right now? And then maybe they list, I don't think I have enough connections with people in high places. I don't think I deal with networking well. I hate public speaking and stuff like that. And then as the team leader, we don't necessarily have to draw how we used to do it how we used to say it as TM is they want to do public speaking. They want to confidence in speaking, maybe pitch more at stalls and stuff like that. It's not just that, but also as team leader, it's also our responsibility to keep that in mind. It's like, okay, this guy, he wants to develop this. What you can do kind of extra is that, let's say that one day the ED was like, you know what, we're kind of thinking about having some members to host LCM. You can recommend the person up and say that, hey, this guy, he's keen in improving public speaking, can you kind of get him in the role and, kind of train him up and stuff like that. So that's something that we can do as team leaders. So it's always important to kind of keep in mind about what your members want and how can Isaac help not just through operations, but also through extra opportunities like OPS, RIS, value delivery for IGT in terms of lead sessions and stuff like that. So there's always a lot of things to do, just that we need to reach out to explore it. And last and finally, of course, is to hold them accountable to the goals, right? You come in with a very specific goal. We need to make sure that he leaves the organization with that fulfilled, at least, right? And I can say with professionals is they tend to burn themselves out really, really fast. So that's something to kind of be mindful about. call them to, slow down a bit sometimes. They don't have a hustle every time. All right. Finally, soul searchers. As I said, soul searchers are the people that don't really know what they want in their life. They're still kind of exploring, still kind of find. As I think someone in their motivation did say that, I'm trying to understand, is there any other aspect of myself that I'm really good at that I don't know? Kind of a soul searcher thing. So first and foremost, to kind of understand where are they heading, what, if they are even working towards something, because high chances they don't really even know where they're going in that sense. And what Isaac's role can play into this is to help them explore what they could be, to explore their potential. So, because as I said, Isaac, for me personally, is a space with a lot of opportunities. It's definitely within our power to give them a lot of different experiences to help them find, have you tried, hosting a session? Maybe go host a session and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things that they can try out and see if there's anything they like and anything that they are really excited about, and they can keep doing it and improving themselves. And I think something about this is always to have regular checkpoints with them, especially important for these guys, especially after they try out something different. Let's say they're OGX, but suddenly you say, do you want to kind of try out, how to do meetings in IGT? They go there, experience a meeting, come back, have a debrief with them, say, hey, how do you find the experience? Do you find it fun? Do you see yourself doing it constantly? Do you find the value in it and stuff like that? Because something about soul searchers, an important point is that they are people that you need to help draw connections between things. And it definitely helps with regular checkpoints to make sure that, they are constantly thinking about, is that experience good for myself? Is there something I'm still interested in doing in that sense? So, oh shit, I think I messed up the notes. My bad. So that is the kind of 3 types of people and how to deal with them respectively. But something to I think, and maybe some of you may know this, but points 1, 2, 3 are sometimes more or less the same. Like the idea is the same, where number 1, it's always about understanding where they're coming from, who they are, what they are doing, where they're heading towards, why they join Isaac, right? Number 2 is to help them explore what value can Isaac bring to their life in the context of what they want to achieve, or in the context of what they're not really sure about. How can Isaac play a role in that? And what they can do within Isaac to kind of facilitate that. And last and finally is, of course, have regular touch points, talk with them, make sure that everything is well and good, make sure that they're having a good experience, making sure that the value that we did see Isaac can provide is actually provided to them in that sense. So that's the 3 points that I did mention. And as I said, members could be more than one category. So it's always useful to kind of keep those 3 kind of profiles in mind when it comes to engaging members, to see, they're kind of something like this and that, maybe I should kind of draw the connection like this, yada, yada, yada. So it's, as I said, because it's dealing with people, it is something really subjective at times. Like, I can't tell you every single scenario, how to deal with every single person, but there is a lot of flexibility in terms of just deal with it with your own best judgment. And what I'm giving is essentially a framework of how to engage them. So basically, to sum it up in one sentence, on the end of the day, we only need to achieve one thing when driving the right conversation for members. Is to, number 1, help them find the connection between their work and what they personally want to achieve. Number 2, as team leaders, hold them accountable to that connection, hold them accountable to that development that they want to have, because things tend to be forgotten because life is busy. And last and finally is, I think this is something that we don't do enough, is to reaffirm that connection with them. We draw that connection at first, hold them accountable to that connection to make sure that, yes, they're developing because of that connection exists, and reaffirm that connection with them so that they see, yes, Isaac is good for me because I want to develop this, and Isaac provides for it. Need to reaffirm the connection from time to time so that it's not forgotten in that sense. So yeah, so that's basically it for now. It's not the end of it yet. I'm gonna take a quick couple minutes downtime a bit. Is there any questions? I think there's a lot of content just now, so any questions? If nothing, just wave. It's fine. Hey, Kev. I see you here. Okay. There's 3 waves so far. Is it safe to assume that everybody is G? Okay, I'm just gonna move on. All right, cool. So from the start, we have talked about what is the key in driving member effectiveness, it's motivation, right? And then next we kind of break motivation down into kind of understand that nobody can give motivation. We can only facilitate the right environment to kind of help people to develop their own motivation. And also, how does motivation look like, and how can we engage different types of people to help them draw the connection between what they want to achieve to what they're currently doing to facilitate the development of that motivation in that sense. So the last part is more to understand, yes, we know that motivation is key. Yes, we know that how motivation can look like and how to draw the connection, help people draw connection between what they want to do and what they're currently doing to kind of promote motivation. But then how do you engage in the right conversations to make sure those things are addressed properly? So before moving on, or gonna quick poll everywhere. So question is, do you feel like kind of think about, I think your VPTM might have been telling you to do one-to-ones, PDPs, monthly reviews throughout the whole semester so now. So I'd like you to think back about the one-to-one PDPs that you have done to your members. Do you feel like it's effective and in enabling them to achieve? And if not, like what are some of the struggles or difficulties you're currently struggling with? Not sure what sort of conversation to have, even though I know we aren't hitting our goals. All right. Not really good with words, so cannot relay my points. And sometimes members just don't trust enough to give information. Team just got reshuffled, but with the team I'm in now, it's easy because everybody believes in no fluff, like knowing when to work hard and when to play hard as well. That's good. Just gonna give one more minute before moving on. Any final notes? They are only identifying problems, but not offering solutions. All right. I think I will come back to this later. I feel like all I do is tell them what to do, but they aren't really learning for themselves. Okay. All right, I think I will move on. All right, I'll probably come back to this slide later on to kind of address a couple of things because I think the contents later will address some of it, but not all of it. Because clearly, because it's people problem, it needs some more specific addressing. But moving on. Right. So when it comes to talking with your members, regardless whatever setting, of course, when I say conversations with your members, it's not like, "Hey, how you doing today? Good, good, cool, cool." End of conversation. That's horrible. When I say conversation, it's actually meaning something purposeful in terms, regardless if it's about results, regardless if it's about their motivation, regardless whatever it is. It's something more. There's more objectives behind it. So what's coming up here is kind of a more of a framework for you to kind of refer to. Don't have to follow everything, but it is something good to start with. So to before you start a conversation or having kind of sit down with your members, kind of keep in mind what is the objective. Why are you talking to members now? Is it because they're not achieving results? Is it because they are having really bad attitude? It's like really disruptive to the team, or are they being something they said really disrupted the team dynamic, and you want to talk to them about that so they're more aware of it? What is the objective of you speaking to them today? All right. And then after you know what you're going to talk about, what are the key points you want to discuss with them? So if they're not achieving results, maybe you want to kind of understand what's going on. You're not achieving your goals. Can I understand what's going on? Is it because you're demotivated? Is it because you're busy? What can I do to help you achieve? Is it a need to have a better space for you to work so that you don't have to worry it off times? Is it that you still don't really understand the education stuff? You need more education. What's going on currently? So some key points that you need to discuss. And during the conversation, number one, the most important thing I cannot stress enough is the environment. Please do not sit in the cubicle and talk like that. It's so, just imagine you're in an office cubicle and trying to talk, like have a casual conversation. It's so uncomfortable. If you can, go out to a nice cafe, sit down, order some drinks, make it casual, make it comfortable, so that people are more relaxed to open up. I think something that's really for people, actually, like in terms of MU, we do have rooms where icebreakers tend to go because we kind of lock down the room. Preferably have the conversation outside of the room because maybe they want to discuss something private. It'd be better if nobody they know is around them in that sense. So environment is important. Find the right environment, find the right time, organize it with them. And when it comes to conversation, something I can't stress enough as well is to listen, seek to understand before being understood. That is something that my LCP keeps repeating to me. So listen, always listen first. Regardless what is the goal, what is the reason you want to talk to your members today, try to understand their side of the story. They're not achieving goals. You don't just go in and flip your shit, right? It's like, don't go in, it's like, why are you not achieving your goals? Are you stupid? Why are you not doing stuff? Why are you so angry? You don't do that. You go in and understand, okay, I understand. From this goal and achievement, I see that you're not really achieving. Can I understand what's going on? Is it, of course, don't give them leading, like, is it this, is that, like, can you kind of tell me what's going on? Is there anything I can help with? And try to understand their side of the story first before accusing them for something that they have no intention about. And last and finally, if something they give is too vague, they're like, oh yeah, I've been busy, and leave it at that. Ask them. Don't be afraid to ask them leading questions. Like, oh, cool, busy. Busy about what? Like, give me more information, man. I'm trying to help you here. Don't dog me like that in that sense. So don't be afraid to ask. Of course, it also really because it's interpersonal communication. It also really depends upon the trust that's built between you and your member. So also kind of take that into consideration. Mediate it as well as you can, because it's touchy, because it's about people. But yeah, trust in yourself in terms of listening. Seek first to understand before being understood. And next, if they are not really giving you enough information to work with, just ask them about it. Of course, don't call them out like, why are you dodging my questions, stuff like that. Try to be more polite, ask them the right questions to kind of lead the conversation on. You don't want to sit down for coffee, 10 minutes in, and there's nothing more to be said. That's a waste of everybody's time. Remember that you are here for a really specific reason. And you want to make sure that that reason is achieved, that objective is achieved at the end of the conversation, correct? And when the conversation is near to the close, it's when, you understand, they're not achieving, it's because of this. They are kind of being really rude to the team, or it's because, they're like, I didn't realize that the team would take it that way, or, because I'm kind of stressed out right now, kind of be a little antsy from time to time. Like, you kind of know what's the reasoning of why them doing stuff. And then when you kind of close the conversation up, something that I always recommend people to do is the way to make a space that's not a total waste of time is to have action steps, like clear action step of what needs to be done. Regardless what happened, regardless what's the objective, there needs to be a clear way forward. Okay, you're not achieving your goals, and you did say that, oh, you don't really understand the education material. Okay, it's fine. When are you free these coming weeks? We can kind of sit down and go through the resources again, or stuff like that. So there always needs to be say, okay, things are not going well. I kind of understand your side of the story now. How can we work together to make this better, to make sure that this doesn't happen again? That's why I say action steps are one of the more important parts within the conversation. And of course, debrief, like if it's a review of sorts, like kind of talk to them about their past month experiences. And if you're talking about the connection of their personal life to their work, debrief is a good space to kind of see, oh, we did discuss before that, or I can see that Isaac can provide this to you. Is that true in your context, in your experience of past month? Did that actually happen? If not, maybe we should look into it. And last and finally, feedback is always nice. Like the way you hosted the session, maybe it's the first time you have such a DM session. Maybe there are some things that you said that kind of hurt your members a bit, hurt your members' feeling. It'd be nice if you can say like, oh, I'll keep in mind for it in the times to come. So that's kind of a really basic framework. It does seem simple, but because of the framework, it's kind of abstract at times. So I will give you a really quick simulation in sorts. Like so let's say that I have a member called John, and he has not been achieving his goals for 3 weeks. Something that I do with my team is I have a weekly touch point with them. But then he's been unresponsive in the group. Like I hit the group, hey guys, how is the progress so far? The other members replied, he didn't reply. I messaged him personally, he didn't reply. So it's definitely something to look into, right? I think some of you may have a member like this, or kind of like this. So it definitely has something to look into. I have no content for this, so you might, if you want to know what questions I'm gonna ask, do write it down, just so you know. So kind of break it down into the framework that I just discussed before. So in terms of the objective, my objective here is really easy, to get him doing work again. As simple as that, right? But then what needs to be discussed? Number one, why is he not achieving his goals? What's the reason behind it? Number two, why is he being unresponsive, right? Number three, what can we do about it? Like of everything that we said, what can we do about it? So I messaged him, I call him up, say, hey, can we meet at this cafe at this time tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. So I met up with him, everybody got coffee. So first, like, don't just go straight like, hey, you're not achieving your goals. What's going on? First things first, just ask him how's the weather. Like, even something as simple as that, you're gonna make it comfortable. Or maybe not ask the weather, but it's like, hey, how you doing lately? How things are going, how's uni treating you? If you're kind of closer, some personal struggles he has been dealing with, you could bring it up again. It's like, hey, I heard that your mother was sick. What's going, like, how's her condition so far, stuff like that. Something casual, something out of the topic for now, to kind of ease you guys into the conversation, and also not just that, but also to kind of understand where is he now, like in terms of his personal life, because it does affect his eyesight work. So in terms of personal life, where is he standing right now? And after that, you can kind of segue into the conversation, depending on how you want to segue into it. So if I were to do it, I'll say, okay, the reason I'm meeting up with you because I did notice that you have not been achieving your goals for 3 weeks, and I like to kind of be in a space to kind of understand, is there anything that's happening and what can I do to help you? So kind of see, depending on his response, let's say that he said, uni works crazy lately. I have like 3 assignments due within a week, and stuff like that. My family, like as I said, my mom is sick, so I'm kind of stressing out there as well. That's why I'm kind of slacking off my Isaac work. I'm not showing up to stalls and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Like, you understand the context. That's his reasoning why he's not doing work. If you want to prod even deeper, if you have that trust between you guys to do it, sure, feel free. You can kind of dig deeper. It's like, how's the assignment going? Is it done? Is it not done? Any struggles you're still struggling with? Something just keep the conversation going. But never forget about why you're here. You're here to try to see if there's anything can be done to help him achieve again. So by the end of it, when it comes to debriefing, you can also talk about his unresponsiveness Not to confront him directly about it. Like I'm maybe just say, oh, I think that I hit up the team weekly to see if they've done their work, how everybody progress, but you have not been responsive. Is there any, I understand you're busy, but it would be nice if you, even if you haven't done your work, just let me know so that I understand something is like you are struggling with stuff. Yeah. So how to say this? So that I understand that week by week you are struggling with stuff, and I don't have to kind of second guessing about what's going on with you and worrying about you like this. Like it would be best if you can, and like even if you haven't done your work, please just let me know that, oh, I can't do my work because I have assignments this week and stuff like that, and I know what's going on, and I can step in to help you if necessary to help elevate your work or something like that. So that's more of an expectation things. Like that is meant to set expectation that regardless what happens, I want proper accountability. Like even if you don't do the work, I want to be informed about that. So that is kind of that part. But then back to the objective of addressing his like achievement goals, right? So let's say that, oh, yeah, assignments, that's why. And maybe he hinted that, oh, my motivation's a little bit low. I don't really see the point Isaac work and stuff like that. So something that you can do is, okay, number one, see if his assignment is done. If his assignment is done, it's like, okay, cool. So your assignment is done. So I think you can kind of start picking up your goals again. You can let him know that I don't expect you to, kind of cover up all the work you didn't do for the past 3 weeks. But take it slow, take it easy. Reach out to me if you need any help and stuff like that. But in terms of motivation, because motivation is a bigger problem. So when it comes to motivation, there's a couple ways you can address it. It's either, as I said, or if you had the conversation before, what's the reason you joined Isaac? How can Isaac provide you value and stuff like that? Have that conversation. Or if you haven't had that conversation, there's also good space. If the space is right, like the prerequisite, if the space is right, you can kind of have the conversation that, to kind of go into this, like, may I understand what is the reason you joined Isaac in the first place? Kind of explore that. Oh, you come in Isaac expecting this. Is that delivered to you? Like, kind of ask that. Is there any way that you can see us delivering that to you in that sense? Like, or let's say, I want communication skills, but I don't feel myself growing through operations. So like, oh, okay, that's a fair point. So do you know any other things that you would like to do in order to be more active about your development so that Isaac can give you value as well? So there's a conversation there's a whole conversation that can be had over there. And before closing off the whole space, regardless what is discussed, actions, as I said, actions that need to be set. For example, let's say he said that, okay, I agree to pick up my goals again. So say, okay, I hope that by the end of this week, you will achieve, let's say, 20% of your goals. Like, yeah, cool, that should be fine. In terms of motivation, maybe he says like, oh, I don't really see the value in Isaac. And you're like, okay, can you maybe go back and think about it? Because if you ask, like, let's say you ask him on the spot, like, why is it so? He can't answer it. He's like, it's fine. Can you kind of have this week where you're doing work, thinking about what's Isaac's relevance to you, regardless if it's good or not good, come back to me and we can discuss it further and put this as an action step as well, because that is something you definitely need to follow up on. Something along those lines. So I know it's a little vague, it's a little all over the place, but that's kind of how I would handle it in an ideal situation. So yeah, that is the example. Yeah, I'll come back to this. So yeah, I think that is generally it. Any questions from the table? Any questions? Feel free to check in the chat, or just turn on your mic and just speak to us. It's fine. If no questions, just wave, so that we don't sit here waiting forever. Ivan, is that a question to me or to everybody here? So Ivan just asked the question, how's everybody's TL experiences so far? Anybody wants to answer?
Because for my team, for OGX, we just got told. But before that, it was pretty difficult to talk to my members because they were really independent. Not to say that it was a bad thing, but yeah, they focused a lot on their work, and at the same time, because I didn't get to have one-to-ones with them, just because the uni timetable has been insane. It was really difficult for me to reach out to them. But then there were some points where I actually got opportunities to have one-to-ones with them, and that made it really easy for me to understand why they were in Isaac, why they continue to be in Isaac even though they're super busy, and how aligned they are. And it's been a really amazing TL experience for working with my old team and working with my new team now, especially when like how I said, I love the work ethics of the new team in terms of being blood with one another. We established that no fluff. Constructive criticism really helps us to grow, and that's what we want to focus on. Being able to meet minimums as well as to help each other grow in whatever way we can. So yeah.
Thanks, Alyssa, for sharing. Anybody else want to chime in? Ivan, please. Ivan, stop. Stop trying to pipeline. This is my webinar. Stop. Go away. God damn. Anybody else want to share? All right. I'm gonna take this as a no for now. The reason I came back to this slide is because I did say that I want to kind of address a couple of things in case it wasn't addressed with the content later. So going through this, not sure what kind of conversation we can have, even though we are not hitting our goals. We are not hitting our goals is a conversation to have already, definitely. It's more about how can we, like as I said, what kind of questions can we ask to kind of understand what is happening, why are we not hitting our goals? Is it, as I said, is it education? Is it motivation? Is it just because they're busy, or they're, oh no, fuck this, I'm lazy in that sense. Like they just plain don't want to do it. So that's definitely something to kind of address. That's a way to kind of address it. I'm not good with words, so can't really relay my points, but sometimes members just don't trust enough to get info. Trust is definitely a big thing when it comes to running the right conversations, because as I said, the member needs to trust you enough for you to kind of give suggestions. Somewhere I read, or what trust means is the permission for people to give you criticism. Because if I trust you, that means I give you the benefit of a doubt when you criticize me. I believe that you're criticizing me with the best of intentions. And if I don't trust you enough, you're gonna like, yeah, you're just trying to fuck with me. That's why I'm not gonna listen to you. So yeah, trust is definitely a big thing. Well, bondings, I guess, more conversations. It's something that needs to be built since the start. So I hope you kind of carry that forward for Sem 2 if you're staying as TL. Not really good with words, so can't relay my points. Well, prepare a script. That's one of the suggestions I can have. Or just kind of write it out first. Have a notepad ready so that you know what you're gonna say. In that sense, that helped me. That helped me definitely. They're only identifying problems but not offering solutions. Ask them. I was like, yeah, cool. you don't like this. What would you want to see different? That's that. Like that's exactly what I will ask. And if they can't come up with something, never mind. Go back and think about it. We'll have this discussion again next team meeting, and let's see what everybody came up with. Like set expectations to the table. Say, oh, if it's a team meeting, if it's a one-to-one, all right, can we kind of have this like I know it's hard to come up with solutions now. I will set a task for you to kind of think about it. I will think about it as well. So let's go back, think about it for a week, come back again. Let's discuss about it further of what can be done of the things you mentioned. Like make it a constructive space. Don't just, oh, there's a problem, I have to work on it myself as a TL. No, get them in it. It builds ownership with the members as well. I feel like all I do is tell them what to do, but they're not really learning for themselves. A way that I tried addressing this as when I was a TL is I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do. How would you do it? So because what needs to be done, there's not that much freedom in it, right? Because there's already minimums. There's nothing much we can do about it. But it's the way we execute the minimums that can be different. So it can be either that, or it can be you challenging them. So it's like, okay, so let's say you have stalled, the member pitches, like after a while, the member kind of adopts a certain way of pitching, right? And you can talk to them and say, okay, I see the way you pitch like this. You first talk about this, then that, and that. I like to challenge you in coming up with a different way of pitching. Maybe you suggest them like, okay, the way I pitch is like this, like this, like this. Do you want to try it out? Because I find it more effective. Maybe see if it suits your style, and try to challenge them to adapt themselves and learning from the process. When it comes to learning, there's a lot of ways to learn. It's about how creative can we become about it. So that's something definitely fun to play around. Like I had a lot of fun about that. I won't lie, as a TL, that was fun. It's part of team standard, so I just been seeing it as something I need to do. Well, that is right. Something that in the ESD we are concerned about is yes, you have to do it, but is it effective? Because I don't know about your TMVP, because something I say to my LC, my MB especially, is if you think the thing I'm telling you to do doesn't make sense, don't do it. Or like, okay, don't do it is a bad thing, but come to me and talk to me about it. It's like, yeah, I don't think one-to-one is effective. Like, I don't think it makes sense for me to do. Like, my members are really, like, I have some TLs that came out with me like, oh, my members don't like PDP because they think it's really fussy. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, thanks for letting me know. I'll look into how to make it better. So that's definitely something that I'll be doing. But yeah, the reason we're having this webinar is exactly that. We are worried that one-to-ones are not as effective as we wish it to be, because I think there are situations when one-to-one just becomes a pure GVA review. Like you just, oh, this goes to actual, you achieve, you don't achieve, done, go back home. It's not meant to be that. There's so much more that can be done with the right conversations with members. And this is something that we want to try to upskill the nation about. And that's why we have this webinar. So that's definitely something to consider in terms of, okay, yes, this is something you have to do, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the flexibility to decide how you want to do it. And it's definitely worth to try to make it as fun as possible and enjoy while you're doing it. Since you have to do it regardless, have fun while doing it. That applies. I can say that because that's kind of what I did as TL when I was back in TL. Cool. All right, I think that's that. I'll move on to the summary slide. So to kind of close off this space, kind of reiterate of what has been said. So key takeaways, number one, nobody can give a member motivation but themselves. So that's something to keep in mind. Number two, as leaders, we need to facilitate a space for members to help members find their personal connection to their work. So yeah, that's that. Number three, as leaders, we are also here to kind of hold our members accountable to their development and can also reaffirm their personal connection to the personal connection between what they want to achieve and what they're currently doing. And last and finally is the right conversations, when guided right, that enable us to better understand our members and also help them find their personal connection within their work. So that is the main message of today. And that is that. Final survey. What is the next topic you want to see? And after you fill this, you are free to go. I release you from your bindings. Oops, wait, be back. Collab. Oh god. I'm so busy. Oh god damn it, wait. Okay, so collab between Troy and Mish, and the counter is Ivan's solo session. Ivan, you should do it because it's the last one. You start off the session strong, you should end the session strong. That's how you do it. Someone mentioned that how to deal with our own stress when too much is going on while being a TL. Someone mentioned that how to get members to be more motivated while getting involved with Isaac-related activities. Anything more before I close the space? Because this is gonna influence what will be the content of the webinar the last webinar next week. How to get members to work with more synergy with other portfolios. I'll close. I'll give it one more minute and then I'll close this. How to deal with stress coming to the end of SEM. Oh, feels bad. You should come to MU. Like we had LCM just now. That was hosted by the MB. They were talking about self-management, stress management, and you know what we did? We did yoga. That was fun. That was really fun. Anything more? So count of 3, 3, 2, 1. All right. This last slide. How to do yoga and LCM. Well, you Google it, fam. You Google it. All right. I'll take. Oh shit. Never mind. I'll come back to this later. All right. Moving on, and we are done. Thank you guys for coming. I release you guys from your bindings. If you want to add more topics into the question just now, feel free to add it in. I'll probably close it up by 9:20, so after 2 minutes. Thank you guys for coming. Any final questions, feel free to shoot me a message, shoot Ivan a message, shoot Michelle a message. It's cool, it's fine. Thank you guys for coming, especially my LC, because I know it's LC dinner. Stop with the choo-choo, guys. I don't want to go to SitCon and like everybody's calling me choo-choo all over the place. No. No. You guys can go now, please. I still have EST meeting. That's my motivation. Oh my god, Michelle. Then no, Michelle, that's your motivation making my life miserable. That's what your motivation is. Okay, I'm gonna stop the webinar now and I'm gonna move on to EST meeting. Bye guys. Thanks for coming.